Hello, parents. This is Mr. Rodemeyer speaking. I get the privilege to be your child's principal here at Byron Intermediate School. If you're viewing this presentation, most likely you have a child who is receiving Title I services and supports here within our school for reading and or math. Um, Typically, we'd be doing this in person, but under the circumstances with COVID, we're trying to provide this information to you virtually. Uh, but again, please know if you do have any other questions um, about our Title I program or the supports that your child is receiving here at Byron Intermediate School or even Byron Primary School, please reach out to Mrs. Durnan or I, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. So, we're here today to just to hopefully answer some of your questions for you to learn more about our process here um, around Title I and what that looks like within our school. It is a state and federal mandate that we provide this information to you, and you have an opportunity to ask us questions and an opportunity for us to gather input on how our process is working. As I said a moment ago, Title I is a federal program designated to support, not supplant, the programs that we have already in place. Title I is designed to really enhance the programs that we've got to support student learning in reading and or math. Really what this slide is showing is just the dollars that or budget we get to work with from year to year. As you can see, it changes. It's it's a complicated formula, and it's really determined by our free and reduced lunch population. Your child certainly could participate in Title I and not be receiving free or reduced rates, but that's just how the state and federal government determine the budget for each school district. And again, as you can see, it changes year to year and for district to district. So how does your child qualify for Title I? There's a couple different ways. The classroom assessments that your child may be participating in within the classroom from their teacher. The MCA, we didn't take that last spring, so that wouldn't be anything that would factor in this fall, but typically the MCA is something that we use at the intermediate school. FastBridge is a reading and math assessment that we use within our school district, kindergarten through 8th grade, and so we did have all of our students assessed this fall. So that is definitely an assessment that we use to determine whether or not your child may qualify. And then guided reading and other phonics assessments that we have within the district. So we tried to use an assortment of different assessments to really get a wide range of assessment data to make a determination as to whether or not your child would qualify for additional support. The Title I Compact, as it says, this is an agreement or a partnership that we pledge to between us all. We're in this partnership between home and school. It's important that we're on the same page in terms of what our responsibilities are. This is what that compact looks like. It will be sent home this year, so we'll put a notification out to you. We would like you to sign this and return it, but please look it over. There's an area for the teacher's role, you as a parent, what your role is, what the student's role is in their learning, and certainly my role as principal in their learning. So anyone who participates in Title I, also the compact comes along with that. So as I said, be looking for that to sign and return to school here at some point. I mentioned what our allocation was for this year. It says 1920, but it should be 2021. That's our allotment. For the past many years, we've used those dollars and that budget towards funding paraprofessionals here within the primary school and the intermediate school. So that is how we've used those dollars in the past and how we've we'll continue to use those dollars here this year. All students K through 5 are eligible for Title I, and as I mentioned a moment ago, it's in addition to core instruction. So if students aren't being pulled from reading to receive reading intervention or pulled from math to receive math intervention, it's in addition to their core math, their core reading with their grade level teacher. So multi-tiered systems of support is the system that we work in to provide all students, to personalize learning for all students in our school. So if you look at learning in a diamond shape, we have students who need support with enrichment or G&T, which we call CUB, to students who need support with reading and math in a Tier 3 environment, which is very small group, one-on-one, or Tier 2, which is where our Title I program falls. So if your student is receiving Title I services and supports, most likely that's coming from a paraprofessional or your classroom teacher, and it falls within that Tier 2 category. And then I mentioned the core instruction for reading and math that all students receive is in the center core. And then some students, based on what they need, receive that enrichment or receive Tier 2 Title I services or Tier 3 support based on what their reading or math need may be. So just a little information about our reading and math core program. Just gives you an idea as to what our kids do during their day in terms of time spent in reading and time spent in math. Our math Tier 2 we call STARS is again for all K-5 students, so the primary school and the intermediate school participate in Title I. Typically it's 4 days per week. We have flexible grouping that's happening. If your child's participated in Dreams or Summer Dreams, that program is part of our Title I programming as well. We haven't decided yet with COVID if Dreams is happening here during the school year, so that's a question mark right now. But if it were, or if it does, again that's part of this Title I program. And then the Tier 2 is in addition to the core learning, as I said. So all students participate in reading and math with their teacher, and then students who may need additional support or may need enrichment receive that based on their needs. Tier 3, again, is in addition to core, in addition to Tier 2 or Title I. It's very focused. It's with a licensed reading specialist. In the past, we've used level literacy intervention as an intervention within that program. But again, Tier 3 is something that's in addition to the Tier 2 Title I program. These are some guiding documents that we use and continue to use to guide our thinking, to guide our planning here within the Byron School District. We have everything from our MTSS committee. So we have a committee that meets weekly to look at student data, to support our teachers as they support students in the classroom. So we meet weekly. We have PLCs, professional learning communities, made up of teachers that meet weekly to really talk about what it is we want students to learn, how it is we know that they're learning it, and then coming up with interventions if we find that students aren't learning what we want them to learn, and coming up with enrichment for students if they already understand what we want them to learn. So those PLCs meet weekly, and then we have other documents. All of this information, if you'd like to learn more about it, is located on our curriculum instruction assessment web page on our district web page. What can you do as parents? Always a great question. Please, one of the best things you can do is to stay in constant communication with your teacher. Again, this is a partnership, and we want you to feel that you are connected with what's happening within the classroom. So whether that's through email, a phone call, attending conferences. A lot of our teachers use their planners as a communication tool, but please stay and communicate regularly with your teacher. Stay connected with what's happening in the classroom and at school, uh, whether that's through our bear prints or any other communications that we're sending out. Ask questions, and we'll try to provide you the answers. Please know that there's no silly questions. There's a lot of information that gets passed along to you, and again, we want to be sure that you understand that information, and so always know that you can ask questions if you need it. Continue to support your child's learning and our school. Your support means a lot to us, so we appreciate everything that you're doing at home to support your child's learning here at school. And then just reading at home is so important. Really appreciate you carving out time. I know we're all busy, but time spent reading at home, designating time for you to read to your children, with your children, or just having your children read independently at home is very important. So once again, I just want to say thank you for partnering with us. Hopefully you know a little bit more about our Title I program than you knew a few minutes ago. Uh, there is a Title I survey that will be coming out a little bit later on. We always appreciate your feedback. Please know too that the compact is going to be coming home as well for you to sign and then return to school. We've got conferences coming up the week of November 9th. And so that's a great opportunity to ask your teacher more about our Title I program, to certainly connect with me. I'll be putting out a calendar invite for those who would like more information or have specific questions about your child or something specific about our Title I program too. So once again, thank you so much for partnering with us. We appreciate all your support. Have a wonderful night.